are you this morning? That was not loud enough. We need to be loud. How are you this morning? One more time, let's try even louder. How are you this morning? Okay, thank you. So I want to explain a little bit about why we're here, what's going on today, what we're going to be doing, and give some context. So again, my name is Saru. I am the co-founder and co-director, along with Fekak Mamdou, who's somewhere around there, of the Restaurant Opportunity Centers United. We are a national organization fighting for better wages and working conditions in the restaurant industry. And we're actually not just workers, although we have 14,000 worker members. We also have 150 employer members who have formed an alternative national restaurant association, and at this very moment are on Capitol Hill saying we represent an alternative voice of restaurant businesses, the high road to profitability. Don't listen to the National Restaurant Association. We also have several thousand consumer members, and the reason that we've grown very rapidly over the last decade is the explosion in this industry. The restaurant industry is right now the second largest and absolute fastest growing sector of the U.S. economy. It's over 11 million workers. 1 in 12 Americans works in the U.S. restaurant industry, and yet it happens to be the absolute lowest paying employer in the United States. According to the Department of Labor, every year the U.S. Department of Labor puts out a list of the 10 lowest paying jobs, and every year 7 or 8 of the lowest paying jobs in America are restaurant jobs, and only one of those 7 or 8 lowest paying jobs, by the way, is a fast food occupation. 6 or 7 of the lowest paying jobs every year are full service restaurant occupations. I'm talking about Denny's and IHOP and even the fine dining steakhouse down the street. They all pay poverty wages. And the reason that you've got the largest and one of the most profitable and fastest growing industries in America paying the absolute lowest paying wages in this country is because the power of an influence of a trade lobby called the National Restaurant Association, which we call the other NRA. And that's who's in that building this morning. The other NRA represents the 400 or 500 corporate chains in America that actually set standards not just for the restaurant industry, but really for the whole economy, for all workers in the food system, and frankly for all workers in America. Because the other NRA, leading Denny's and McDonald's and Darden, which is Olive Garden, and actually Disney is a leading group within the NRA, the other NRA, and Applebee's and IHOP. These chains come together through the other NRA and lobby every year to keep wages as low as $2.13 an hour, which is the federal minimum wage for tipped workers, and to keep the overall minimum wage for all workers at $7.25 an hour. And I'm sure many people here have fought for wage increases. Well, you may know that at every state legislature, in Congress, in every city hall, it's always the Restaurant Association that is the biggest enemy to raising wages, always. And that's why it's important to know that the other NRA is actually not just an enemy of restaurant workers. They are right now an enemy of all workers in America, and actually not even just workers, because this is the same lobby that fights to keep our country under a fast food nation, right? That fights to keep animals treated very poorly in CAFOs and factory farms, right? That fights to, market junk food to kids at McDonald's and Burger King through Happy Meals, right? That fights to keep soda sizes so big that we're all getting diabetes and we're all dying from cancer, right? This is the same lobby that does all of these different things, not just to workers, but to our bodies and to our lives. And they are the 10th most powerful lobbying group on Congress, and a lobbying group most people haven't even heard of, which is why today's action is about actually stopping them from going to Capitol Hill while we send an alternative voice to Capitol Hill. And it's actually also about just even exposing who they are and what they're doing, right? So every year in April, they hold their annual lobbying day, and they bring 400 or 500 corporate lobbyists from Olive Garden and McDonald's and Taco Bell and Disney, and they descend on Capitol Hill and they meet with every legislator on Capitol Hill to spread their message. And today, they're meeting in there. They're going to be rolling out in 6 buses, about 6 buses, up Pennsylvania Avenue to go to Capitol Hill. And what are we going to do? We're going to set up a restaurant in the intersection to stop them from going to Capitol Hill.